Is web development. We're going to use VueJS to build a calculator application, not unlike what we see here in Google, although we'll be simplifying it and making it just a simple calculator. We won't be doing scientific functions in this use case, but this will give you the fundamentals you need to working with Vue. So let's get started. So first things first, we're going to use the Vue CLI to bootstrap our project. Now, this tutorial assumes you already have npm and node installed on your computer. If you don't, you'll need to figure out how to do that before you can install the Vue CLI. Here it is right here over in cli.vuejs.org. I already have it installed, so I'm going to skip this step. I'm going to go straight into building a Vue app. So that's over here in creating a project, and it's simply Vue create, and I'll call it calculator. And we're going to go with Vue 3, preview. Let's try out the new stuff. Give that a second to fire off. It's going to build together all the necessary things it needs to get going. This is really nice because it takes a lot of the work out of setting up a project. We can just use these kind of automated tools to do the hardest part for us, which is really sweet. All right, let's get into our calculator. My preferred code editor right now is VS Code. So in here we can just run. We can usually it comes with some scripts by default over in package.json. We can kind of see that over here. Within scripts it has serve, build, and lint. So we can give it a look see by just running yarn serve, or npm run serve, depending on if you're using yarn or what have you, yarn or npm. So we'll go to localhost 8081. All right, here we are. So let's get started with actually writing code. We're going to keep this calculator open just to give us a little bit of a visual feedback. First thing we want to do is kind of replicate the design. We're just going to use native HTML and CSS to accomplish this. So you can really see it get built up from the ground level. We won't use anything fancy other than Vue to help us with this. So let's get started. First thing, we're going to want to wipe everything on here, and that'll be over here in app.vue. We don't need any of the pre-render stuff that it comes with. We'll just make this an empty div for now. We'll cut out this here. Let's get rid of that as well. And this gives us an empty page. All right, now let's get the ball rolling. We're gonna want to make a little bit of a container. So let's get started there. Let's get rid of this as well. For the container, let's just call it, let's give it a class. We'll call it calculator. We'll create a style over here, calculator. And let's just apply a fixed height for the time being, and we're going to play around with this, see how we feel about it. We're just going to, the goal here is rapid prototyping. We're just going to get the ball rolling, going, seeing how it goes. Let's give it a nice border of 1 pix solid gray, and let's give it a border radius as well. And let's make that, let's see what it looks like at 5%. Okay, nice. So far so good. I like it. Tell you what, let's do a step further. Let's just put this in the middle of the screen. I don't really like it over there in the corner. Let's give this a wrapper class. One of the lovely things about Vue is it should come with CSS out of the box. So if I do lang and then do SCSS, it should work like that. Now I can do dot wrapper and start nesting styles in here. Features of Sass. We'll confirm that that works. But let's just try. Let's make this a flex box because that's going to be a quick way to get in the center. Let's see what that looks like. So we actually don't have the Sass loader in here by default. And we can always install that real quick by going to Vue SaaS Loader, using preprocessors. And we just got to run this, but let's do it with yarn because that's what I'm already doing. So, oops, what we want is yarn, add the SaaS loader in Node SaaS. And then over here, there should be a Webpack config. Do we have a Webpack config? I don't think that we do. It's always a good time. Let's see Vue 3 SCSS. Maybe all we need actually is this. Yarn add the SaaS loader and SaaS. So yeah, it says it's already, the internal Webpack config is already pre-configured to handle them all. So hopefully it works now. Let's give it a refresh. Did it crash my app? It did crash my app. Let's reboot my app. And it works. That's the beautiful thing about here. We actually, I don't think we're using Node SaaS, so I'm going to get rid of that. Let's just verify. And yarn to install the packages, and then yarn to serve after. One of the things you don't want to do is just have unnecessary packages in your project. It's not really a big deal for these prototyping sessions, but it's a good practice to keep in mind. Like, why add stuff you don't need? It just creates weight for no reason. Okay, great. So we got SaaS in there. The only thing I think I want to do is center it across the board. And to do that, we will just say flex 1. Let's see if that works. Nope, didn't do it for me. It's because wrapper is not height 100%. Oh, let's try line items center. What is, oh, that's because app is too small, of course. Let's give this height 100%. Still no, is that because body HTML? Okay, typical. Let's do like a HTML. Let's do a body. Then let's do an app, and let's all make this height 100%. There we go. So that's what it takes. Let me give this a refresh because I'm going to lose some styles that I put inside of the console. So that gives it 100%. Let's see if I just need align items for center. No, might need height 100% here as well. Okay. That kind of puts our wrapper into a flex box, and then that flex box puts everything inside of it in the center. And then to make that work, we needed everything around it to also be the full height of the page in order to get the effect that we desire. So now this kind of sticks us in the middle. Whether or not we stick through with this is another question, but let's keep going in the meantime. So we have over here a couple buttons that we're going to want to put in. So let's see, should we start with the input or should we start with some buttons? Let's start with the top input just to give us that feel that we're looking for. So inputs are pretty straightforward. We're going to want an input. We'll put that in and it'll be unstyled. It won't look good yet. So let's give this a class as well, and we'll just call it input class. Now inside of our calculator, we'll have an input. Now for this input, first thing we want is for it to be centered. So we should probably split this up a little bit more. So there's kind of the top half and the bottom half. And for that, we'll duplicate out 2 divs. And in the top half, although the top part, not necessarily the top half, we're going to stick the input, and then here will be our buttons will go here. So let's just call this class the top part, because why not? Keep it simple and fun. Top part, input will go inside of top part. And now what we want inside of top part is, let's make this a height of 20%. See how that looks. And then we're gonna also give it the center rising. We're gonna want to center it as well. So let's make it display flex, justify content center, align items center as well. Let's see what that looks like. Boom. So that's beautiful. I kind of want the input to be the full width of it here, and maybe a little bit higher as well. So let's do that. Let's play around with the input. Let's just try setting the height to 200%. Way too big. Let's try like 4 REM. Yeah, that's closer to what we want. Now I want the text in there to be as well. Text height in input. Let's see how we, oh, that would be probably just font size, right? Let's try font size. Font size of, let's see what 3 REM looks like. Yeah, so there's actually we might be able to skip the height, just use font, which is cool. So let's make it 2 REM. Okay, that's nice. Now when we type in here, it's quite big. Lovely. Okay, let's get rid of this. Keep that safe for now. Also, I kind of like how on the Google side, the calculator starts at the the right hand side as opposed to the left hand. Let's see if we can give it a text align to the right, and we can. So now we go over to the left side. Cool. So another thing we want to do, like this shouldn't be able to take any text. This is just a number input. One way we can tell an input to only accept numbers is to make it a type number. And now it kind of gives us this plus or minus increment as default. We can hide that because I don't think we're going to want to keep that. But for now, this means you can't type in any characters, but you can only type in numbers, which is a good step for us in the calculator app. Okay. And that concludes part 1. Stay tuned and we're going to keep building out this calculator.